Columbia off to a 1-0 start after an impressive opening victory over Lafayette 31-20. Lance Meadow with you here on GoColumbiaLions.com. It's the Week 2 edition of the John Poppy Coaches Show. Coach, you couldn't have scripted a better start to your tenure. First of all, congratulations on the victory. A balanced attack is what stood out to me. Offense, you had nearly 450 total yards, 4 touchdowns. The defense took the ball away twice. And it seemed the defense responded to prevent Lafayette from rallying late. Of all the facets, what jumped out to you the most in terms of what you saw in the opener?
I think just the composure of the team, right? And been around football for a long time now, and I think there were moments of adversity that I was hoping we'd face. Maybe not that much high-rising blood pressure type moments, but it was a phenomenal job by our players to stay true to their process and what we've been developing here since we've arrived. And you could see them go to the bench after each series, whether it was a successful series or a negative series. And, okay, let's get the reviews from coaches, let's get the feedback, and let's go right back to work. And I think that was the most impressive part about Saturday, is how those guys collectively amongst themselves to control the game, you know, from a mentality standpoint.
On the topic of blood pressure, we saw an emotional scene after the game. You in the locker room, and you leaped in to the huddle. You really took it in. How emotional was it, if you, even after the minute, had an opportunity to take a step back and sort of gain perspective on what you accomplished in Week 1?
Yeah, I mean, just to have my family there is awesome, right? My wife's on the field there at the end, and it's just the way I think I've grown up in coaching, more or less. My wife and I have been dating since I've gotten into this profession, and she's been around for the heartaches and the victories. And to have my daughter in the locker room and see that too, that's where kind of some emotion hit me, and then just to see these guys be successful. It's been a long journey, you know, I think for them and some of our seniors and fifth-year seniors, and to see that kind of elation after a win, knowing, as I said earlier, it's hard to win football games, was awesome. And the credit to our assistant coaches and those guys for executing the game plans perfectly.
Now, no injury report showing up for you. The ankle's in good shape after the jump. Just wanted to make sure that there's no additional baggage from that front.
Absolutely not. I got to work on my vert a little bit. That's what the players say.
You got some nice height from what I saw. We broke it down. We had a film study and so forth.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of game-changing plays, let's focus on the offense here, because Bryson Canty, who was named Offensive Player of the Week by the Ivy League, this was a long time coming for him, Coach, right? He misses the bulk of last season, the last 7 games. He got into the end zone for the first time since 2022. We know he's a playmaker, but what was it about his ability to make plays for the quarterback, specifically the one where he came back to the football, and what that did to open up for your offense?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to get Bryson Canty going, to make sure a defense acknowledges him and provides extra support, because I don't think there's a corner at this level who can defend him one-on-one. And so I think they're going to have multiple defenders shadowing him or paying attention to him, and to see him come up with those close area contested catches is huge for an offense and huge for a quarterback, right? Knowing that you can put the ball anywhere near him and he's going to come down with it. And then just to see him also execute the run game. You know, that's some of the times as receivers, it goes unheralded, your play in the run game, but he helped spring a couple of runs with his blocking, and the effort showed on every snap piece in the game, and that's why it's exciting to see him recognized for his play last week.
That's why it was more than just the 6 catches for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns, as you pointed out. And as an extension to that, John, I would say really the unsung hero of the game on Saturday, I thought, was the offensive line. It's good when you're not talking about that unit, right? It's bad when you are focusing on that, but clean pocket for both quarterbacks, the ability to have verticality in the offense. What was it about that group that you got immediate consistency out of it?
I mean, I think I've said it since I got here. I'm really excited about our offensive line and how they play. And you just watch that group on film, and they're playing, they're all moving the right direction, they're climbing to the right guys, their double teams, their combo blocks are all in sync, all in mesh, and that's a testament to Greg Skold and the coaching job he's done in developing these guys within the scheme, and the proper footwork and hand placement. And it was all on fire with those guys and how they were playing the game, and we're excited about that group moving forward. There's no question, and that's why we had the success we did, is that they dominated the line of scrimmage.
And you were able to spread the wealth. 10 different targets, caught at least 1 pass. I think that's a notable number. It wasn't just necessarily all about what Bryson Canty did. So moving forward, John, what does that do for your offense, and what does that make opponents have to take into consideration?
Yeah, anytime you can have multiple playmakers, right, which we believe we do, it puts a lot of stress on your defense. And are you going to be a zone defense, and now you're going to tell your safeties to backpedal? Well, now we're going to run the ball, right? Because you don't have the numbers that we're going to be able to create in the run game. Are you going to start inserting your safety to take away our run and create one-on-one shots and maybe double team Bryson? Well, now Eden Stagg, Jordan Kelly, Titus Evans, Marcus Libman, who didn't have a catch, who we anticipate big things moving forward. Then you had our tight ends, who Brandon Dougherty caught our first touchdown. Jark Larson had a nice catch for I think a 10+ yard gain. So when you have this multiplicity, and even in the pass game, not just run and pass, but in the pass game with who can see the ball in any given play, it makes it extremely challenging for a defense.
And of course, it wasn't just about the offense. Keller Patterson named Rookie of the Week for the Ivy League. His first game, his first ever tackle. He doesn't anticipate that he's maybe going to get a sack, but it shows up in the box score. What does that say for the rest of the roster when a true freshman gets his number called and delivers essentially on the big stage immediately?
Yeah, we've had a few injuries with some of our senior leadership and some of our veteran players, and Keller stepped in, and he's had a great preseason camp. There's no doubt that he'd play at some point for us probably this season, but to have it in game one in front of his family flew up in Texas and got to see that, which was really cool. And the maturity he's shown, the physicality he's shown for such a young player, it's different level, and we're excited about Keller's future here, and we couldn't ask for more in what he did on Saturday in his 32 snaps.
Certainly not wasting any time putting his stamp all over the board in terms of his statistical output. Well, we have plenty more coming up to break down with respect to the quarterback play in the Lafayette game, but we're also going to delve deeper into Keller Patterson and find out what makes him tick in his first year here with Columbia. You are watching the John Poppy Coaches Show on GoColumbiaLions.com.
My name is Keller Patterson. I play defensive line, and I'm from Keller, Texas. I wanted to do something new, right? Being from Texas, with the sunny weather, I want to challenge myself in a little bit. And I just know about the illustrious alumni network. I know about the opportunity I can set myself up with. I know about that what comes with the name of Columbia and seeing graduate next to it. One thing you might not know about me is I love anime. I love Death Note, My Hero Academia, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z. In fact, I put Coach Poppy onto Death Note at my house. So go ahead and ask him about that. Attack on Titan, just like Shonen Jump and some action anime. I got into anime because of my oldest brother. Like, he's my role model, so I just try to be like him. It was one day he was watching like Yu-Gi-Oh on TV, so I'm like, man, let me see what this is about. I just went to a rabbit hole. I'm always trying to be like them and be better. The reaction I got to Rookie of the Week, it was insane. Like, I was coming back from class and I got a notification on my phone. It says I'm Rookie of the Week. And then in the next like 5 hours, I'm just talking about call after call. So many people reached out from my hometown, from Columbia. It was crazy. It's nothing but God. So that's what, I still haven't gotten back to some people. So I do feel bad, but I will get back to them. It meant a lot to me to make that impact because my family was there. And there's nothing that I want to do more than to impress them. This is what I do it for. Those are my wife, my mom, my brother, my niece, and my uncle came out and supported, and it just meant the world to me to do that in front of them. Favorite part about being in New York City is just the opportunities, right? Because it's not like Texas, it's not like Dallas, it's not like Irving, it's not like Fort Worth. Everywhere is accessible to you. You can go anywhere, you can do anything you want, and it just makes me feel like if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. My personal expectations are just to continue to build on myself week by week. Just thinking like, man, week one, that's like in my mindset, that's the worst I'm going to be all year. Just to like make sure I get better consistently, and it's a me versus me mentality. It's not about what anybody else is doing. It's like, how can I improve myself? How can I make myself better? And what the team is, of course, we want to win every single game. Of course, we want to be Ivy League champions. We want to do this for Columbia. We want to do this for Coach Poppy. We want to do this for the entire fan base and just show the world what we can do. Getting a sack is something like you can't explain. It's what my old high school coach said. It's a high you can't buy. Like realizing sacking them, because people only see what you do on Saturday. They don't see what you do from Sunday to Monday. They don't understand like the grind, the effort it takes, and just able to showcase what I can do out there and just get into them and realizing like, man, I just did that, and you just black out for a minute. I've been practicing my celebration all week though, so I got to practice new one now. The bets on the D-line, I can't even describe how much they meant to me and to my process and evolution as a player. When I first came in here, I was so worried about making mistakes, messing up, and just not being focused and locked in and making mental errors. But I quickly realized, like, man, everyone makes mental errors. Like Pat has told me before, he's never had a practice where he's been truly happy. Everybody just keeps on being hungry and hungrier and to get better and better. They keep me down to earth. After I won Rookie of the Week, they're like, you know that doesn't mean anything, right? We got to win 9 more of them. I'm like, yeah, exactly right. I am not a Cowboys fan. I'm a Steelers fan. I cannot stand the Dallas Cowboys, and it's because of their fan base and Jerry Jones. If you guys haven't known, my name is Keller. I'm from Keller, Texas, and a lot of people think I'm named after my city, which is not the case. I'm named after my beautiful mom. Shout out, Mom. Love you. Her name is Veronica Keller. I've taken her maiden name, and I was going to be Keller if I was a boy or a girl. It didn't matter. So I am Keller from Keller, Texas, son of Veronica Keller. I'm Keller Patterson.
Welcome back to the John Poppy Coaches Show. Lance Meadow with you as we now look ahead to the second straight game for Columbia against a Patriot League opponent on the road for the first time against Georgetown following the victory over Lafayette. And I want to bring up the quarterback play because Chase Goodwin did not hesitate, leading the team down the field, 5 plays, 75 yards, and then Cole Freeman had to come in because of the injury. The luxury, John, that you have, where you have 2 quarterbacks that have command of the offense and what that can mean for you moving forward.
I think it makes us tough any week, right? Knowing that Cole's also going to play regardless of Chase's status or Chase is healthy. We had Cole in there in a 4th and short call, which, you know, shame on us a little bit, knowing what they were going to do defensively. And Cole maybe took a better angle. It would have been a first down, but having those 2 guys feed off each other and having 2 quarterbacks who can execute at such a high level is a huge luxury at any level of football.
Now, as you hit on, Cole came into the game later on more as the every down guy because Chase did get hurt. So coming into this week against Georgetown, how would you best assess his status?
Yeah, Chase is practicing, right, and doing little things. He's not necessarily executing every single play, but we expect him to be a game-time decision, and he's preparing the right way. And if he can't go at the last minute, then here we go, Cole, and let's buckle up and run the show.
That's why you can't have enough depth at any given position, right, on any given level of football. This is your first road game, and it's a little bit different in terms of the routine, right, John, that you want to set forth. So how critical is it to make the team understand this is what we're going to do every week we go on the road and that we want it to be in line and consistent?
We are doing that as much as we can. Obviously, traffic can dictate certain things, but we're planning on doing everything we did this past Friday and keeping it the same with our, more or less our walkthrough, our film review sessions, our team meetings. It's all going to occur at the same time so the guys can relax and get their minds right with the same amount of time that they had this previous Friday. So we're really trying to stay true to routine and give these young men a chance to get themselves ready to play another physical game.
Well, I would figure that's beneficial because players are creatures of habit, right? No different than coaches. So if they know every single week, hey, Friday, whether it's home or road, that creates continuity.
We're excited to get down there at Georgetown. We'll have some different things where guys can roll out and get that bus ride out of them right off the bat and then get their minds ready to have some last reminders before we face a tough opponent.
So there's a rivalry game, the Lou Little Cup on the line for the 9th time. Now, for our viewers to understand, you are used to rivalries. You came from Union. You didn't think maybe I was going to bring up the Dutchman Shoes Trophy. We're doing a little homework here. So being part of that, how much does that relate to how you approach that game in terms of what you're telling your team this week with the Lou Little Cup on the line?
Well, anytime you can just add stakes to a game, I think is an extra incentive for motivation. And knowing we've had the Lou Little Trophy for a couple of years now, we want to keep that. We like looking at Lou in our offices, and I'm sure Georgetown wants Lou Little back. And so it's fun to have something to compete for and have just this nice ride between us and Georgetown, knowing we share a common person or history, so to speak.
Well, speaking of the recent history, you have won the last 3, including a 30-0 victory here at home last year. How much do you look back at that film, and does the final score truly present maybe how lopsided or the lack thereof that game played out?
No, it doesn't. Georgetown's offense, I think, did a great job moving the chains. And then our defense a year ago did a great job preventing points when the circumstances or situation was such of 4th down conversions, and our defense did a heck of a job. And so going in, knowing it's not going to probably be raining, there's a different quarterback that we're going to face that's, I think, much more polished player, much more all-around player than the one that we saw a year ago. We got to have our minds right and ready for a dogfight, knowing that this offense has shown to move the football even in an explosive way. Right? They had a 60-yard touchdown against Brown called back that would have made that a 1-score game because one of the teammates on Georgetown did it, held the jersey a little bit, but that should have been a 1-score game, 26-21 in the 4th quarter.
You brought up the fact that they're coming off a game against Brown. I'm curious, you're familiar with Brown, having been in the Ivy League. Does it help when you play an opponent after they've played a division or conference foe? Because there's similarities in terms of maybe how Brown's personnel face them and something that you can maybe take a similar page out of.
I think so. I think most FCS opponents, we feel like we're pretty in line with a lot of the skill and line of scrimmage guys that we see on tape. So I think we're similar in structure to Brown in a lot of ways, which helps saying, okay, they're going to line this way or attack this way potentially. Brown's an explosive offense traditionally. And so I think that helps our guys prepare, saying we're going to get their best shot, knowing that Brown just was in a dogfight, right? I mean, they hit that quarterback a lot in some explosive and physical ways. So we got to make sure we're doing a great job protecting our quarterback. When this defense does a great job, not just sacking the quarterback, but also attacking ball carriers in the backfield with, I think, 35 or 36 TFLs in the season.
Well, and as you pointed out, they have 15 sacks in the first 4 games, so that's 3rd best in the nation. I know you would probably argue games are always decided in the trenches, so this is not going to necessarily be any different. But given earlier we talked about how good the offensive line was in setting the tone, how much is this the next test to see the guys build off of what they established in that Lafayette game?
Yeah, I think Georgetown's going to show some more exotic looks with different guys in the line of scrimmage and different alignments. So our O-line's going to have their hands full. And Coach Gold and Coach Saito have done a great job. And Coach Batty, our tight ends coach, and Coach Tinsley, our running back coach, of scheming things up in the run game. And now we got to make sure we're doing another great job of working through these twists and games and stunts and blitzes and pressures that Georgetown's shown. I mean, Coach Doherty's done a great job there for a long time. I've known him since he was a defense coordinator at Harvard for all those years. They won championships, so he's an awesome mind at football, and we're going to have our hands full.
John, before I let you go, you learn a lot about a team from game to game. Clearly very pleased with the results from the first week. What are you hoping to see now out of your group that you're now taking this show on the road for the first time under your leadership?
Just seeing again the composure on the sideline. That's what I really want to see, is that we have a workman-like mentality and that we're paying attention to the present and not focused on the future or the things we can't control. We're focused on our job, doing our 1/11th, as we like to say here, and making sure that we just remove all the variables we can from our situation and play football.
Well, we'll look for a little bit more height in terms of the victory formation in the locker room this week. Other than that, Coach, congratulations and best of luck this week.
Lance, appreciate you.
You got it. Absolutely. It's Columbia visiting Georgetown. Kickoff 12:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. You can watch the game on ESPN+.